My 15-minute rule kind of changed my life, so I want to share it with you guys. First of all, I do want to say that this is a trigger warning. I'm going to be talking about binge eating, so if that's something you don't want to listen to, swipe off now. When I was 21, I suffered with binge eating disorder, and this kind of started from restricting food, and it was a whole cycle that I just couldn't seem to get out of. My binge eating trigger always happened with the same thing. So when I would sit down for a meal, I would usually restrict how much food I had on my plate, and I'd give myself a tiny portion, finish that portion, and then obviously feel really, really hungry. And that was when the restriction would come in, and I wouldn't let myself eat any more until the next morning or the next day. And a few hours later, that's when a binge would happen. After doing a lot of work on myself, I can very happily say that I'm binge free and have been for several years now. However, there is one thing that I did teach myself, which I still use all the time now, when I get that little voice and I suddenly think, oh my God, am I gonna have another binge? And that is my 15-minute rule. And basically, when I've eaten a meal, a relatively normal sized meal, I will then give myself a 15-minute window. And what I mean by that is, if I finish my meal and I start to have this little voice in my head that's going, oh, I'm still hungry, I could carry on eating, even though I know that I'm full and I've eaten a proper meal, I will give myself 15 minutes, and usually I will walk away from the food. So I'll leave the kitchen table, or I will leave my kitchen, and I will go and do something else for 15 minutes. And then after the 15 minutes, if I am still hungry, I will go and eat. 9 times out of 10, I never go and eat more because I'm actually not hungry, and it almost takes that 15 minutes to realize that I was not hungry at all. It's just like this little inner voice. But the reason I do it and the reason it works is because it's breaking that restriction cycle. So it's basically me telling myself that I am allowed to eat more and I don't need to restrict myself, but give myself a little bit of time to digest and actually realize if I'm actually hungry or if I'm just wanting to eat for the sake of eating. And this is something that has really, really helped me. So if it can help any of you guys, I hope it does.